Hey, it's Harry, and today we're going to be looking at the Loopback feature on the EVO 8 audio interface, when you'd use it, and how it works. So Loopback enables you to record your computer audio alongside any microphones you have plugged into EVO 8. Imagine taking a set of cables from the output of EVO 8 and plugging them into the inputs, and then recording whatever your computer's doing. This is effectively what Loopback's doing, except it's doing it internally without the need for cables, and more importantly, while leaving your inputs and outputs free for you to use. There's two main ways that you can use audio Loopback. The first way is to record your computer and microphone audio onto separate channels, which gives you the most amount of flexibility when you're wanting to edit or mix it afterwards. And the second way of using it is by combining your computer audio and microphones into a single stereo channel, which is perfect if you're wanting to use it with some streaming software or an audio software which will only let you choose one audio input. So as an example of where this might be useful, you could be a podcaster who wants to record a remote video call interview, or maybe you have a gaming YouTube channel or stream and you want to record your game audio as well as your microphones and send them out at the same time. There are a number of uses for audio Loopback, and it's up to you to get creative with it. But essentially, if you want to be able to record or stream up to 4 microphone or line inputs, as well as record a stereo feed of whatever's happening on your computer, then Loopback is definitely something that you're going to want to look into. So how does it work on EVO 8? Well, when you're selecting your audio inputs on EVO 8 in your audio software, you'll actually notice that there are 6 channels instead of the 4. So the first 4 are your mic channels on the back of the unit, but inputs 5 and 6 are your Loopback inputs. So if you want to record whatever's happening on your computer, you would select these in your audio software, and then you're ready to record. You can customize exactly what's being sent to these Loopback inputs by changing the Loopback audio source. So with the EVO app open on a Mac, go to the EVO icon in the menu bar, and if you're on Windows, click the EVO icon in the system tray in the bottom right. And then in this menu, go to Set Loopback Source. Then you're presented with a number of options. Mac or Windows 1 and 2 will take audio from any playback to the output 1 and 2 channels on EVO 8. This will typically be the main output of any audio software or program on your computer. Mac or Windows 3 or 4, in a similar way, will take audio from any playback to the outputs 3 and 4 channels on EVO 8. So if you send things to outputs 3 and 4 in an application, this will appear on the Loopback inputs. Loopback 1 and 2 allows you to take audio from a dedicated Loopback channel. You can find this on channels 5 and 6. So anything you send to outputs 5 and 6 in audio software will appear on this Loopback channel. And you can actually see this in action if you go onto the EVO mixer, scroll to the right, and you can see the Loopback 1 and 2 channels, just to check that you actually have signal there. Next, we have the master mix, which takes audio from the master mix in the EVO 8 mixer. So anything that you're listening to, whether it's your computer or your low latency inputs, it will all be combined and sent to the Loopback inputs. Similarly, artist mix follows the same pattern. If you have artist mix enabled, you can use it as a separate Loopback source. Again, it's great for combining your computer audio and microphones together and sending it out. But the difference here is that you can have it sounding completely different to what you listen back to using the master mix. We'll go into an example of how to use the artist mix in a bit. As with any routing of audio Loopback can be a little bit complex to get your head around sometimes, especially seeing as there aren't any physical cables to be able to see where the audio is going. So it's actually probably easiest if we go through a couple of examples together to just see exactly what's going on with audio Loopback. Probably the simplest way of using audio Loopback is using the Mac and Windows 1 and 2 setting. This basically means that anything on your computer, whether it's coming from a video call or a browser or some audio software of some kind, will be picked up by the audio Loopback and recorded. So we go into the audio software and create a couple of channels, one for a microphone, which would be in inputs 1 to 4, and another for your computer audio with the input set to inputs 5 and 6. Depending on the audio software you're using, this could actually appear as Loopback 1 and 2 as the input name. Now, when you run audio on your computer, it will record it. With this setup, you need to make sure that you actually mute the audio output of your audio software, otherwise you can end up creating feedback loops, which will ruin your recordings. As a second example, we will use the Loopback 1 and 2 as the source, and this will greatly reduce the risk of feedback. This means that any computer audio we're wanting to capture needs to be sent to the Loopback 1 and 2 outputs, or outputs 5 and 6. Some applications will let you do this internally, so you'd go to their output settings and then select outputs 5 and 6 or loopback 1 and 2, whatever is displayed. But for applications where you can't do that, then the next best thing to do is to change the output of your computer itself to the loopback output. To do this on a Mac, go to Applications and then Utilities, and then open Audio MIDI Setup. From here, select EVO 8 from the list of outputs and then click Configure Speakers. Now all you need to do is change your left and right speaker outputs to Loopback 1 and Loopback 2. To do this on Windows, you need to go to Control Panel, and then Hardware and Sound, and then Sound, and then click on the Playback tab and find Loopback 1 and 2 as the options, and set this as default. So now, no matter what system you're using, whether it's Mac or Windows, any audio sent from any application in your computer will be sent through the loopback channels and ready to be picked up by your audio software. So again, if we go into our audio software and create a couple of new channels, one for our microphone and then another for our computer audio, which is selecting inputs 5 and 6. And now if we play any audio from an application on our computer, you can see that it's recording alongside the live mic. When using the setup, to be able to hear anything that's happening on your computer, you need to be monitoring the computer channel that we've created in your audio software. And you can still make use of the ultra low latency monitoring in the EVO mixer by turning up any of the input channels, so you'll be able to hear your microphone without any distracting delays in your headphones. For our final example, I'll show you how to combine signals together into a single stereo channel using Artist Mix. This is great if you're using a streaming software or recording software that will only let you record using one channel at a time. So first we need to ensure that Artist Mix is turned on. So in the EVO mixer, we go to Setup and then Enable Artist Mix. You'll notice that the mixer changes slightly, and then now we just need to click on outputs 3 and 4 in the mixer window and it will open Artist Mix. Now we go back to the Loopback source menu and select Artist Mix. And at this point, we want to choose exactly what's going to be sent. So by turning up any of the channels in the EVO mixer, that will be what is being sent to the loopback channels and picked up in our audio software. We still have our computer using the dedicated loopback 1 and 2 channels, and you can also see signal on the microphones as well. So to combine them, make sure that everything that you want is turned up and balanced just the way you like it. And now, if you go into your audio software again, you'll see that all of it's being combined into a single stereo channel with inputs 5 and 6. Now it's ready to record or ready to send out to your stream. If you found this video useful, please give it a like. And if you have any questions about Loopback or how it works, then please either leave a comment below or get in touch with our support team and they'd be happy to walk you through how it might work on your system. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with EVO related news and content.